In this video, I talk about sleep, the healing power of sleep. We get into why sleep is important, more especially if you're a new parent. What should your approach be? Because sometimes we think it's okay to just kind of brace yourself and get ready to live this sleep deprived life, which I totally disagree with. And then how common are sleep problems? And then how are you sleeping? How do you know how you're doing for sure? Because a lot of people just think go to bed at 8 and wake up at 7 and I got my sleep. Are you really getting that much sleep? And then understanding sleep, just like the little intricate details, like sleep research has uncovered so much. And I just kind of go into the basics of sleep. What's going on when you sleep? And then troubleshooting sleep problems, right? Before you call it insomnia and you try to get a prescription for some medication, we answer some questions that uncover what's really going on and how you can fix that. And then we talk about sleep pills and other sleep aids, right? Should you be taking them? What's in them? Are they safe? Right? And then I finished the video off with some action items, some things you can take action on right now to start getting better sleep. All right. Why sleep is important. Good sleep is everything. So it enhances learning, so you can pick up new skills easily if you sleep, and you're healthier if you get good sleep. So you enhance not only your health span, but your lifespan as well. Good sleep is needed for longevity, and this goes for both you and your kids too. Like, it's not only good for adults to get good sleep, and it's okay to let your kids kind of play video games all night or watch TV or anything like that and zap them up early so they can go to school on, I don't know, 2-3 hours of sleep. This is across the board, babies all the way to grown-ups. It's good for you if you want your kid to pick up skills better, right? For them to be healthier, make sure they get good sleep. Unfortunately, for a lot of us, it's hard because we've developed these patterns of kind of doing whatever we want, right? We don't know. You don't want to be told when to go to sleep. It's almost harder to discipline yourself to stop whatever it is you're doing and call it a day. There's just so much more, especially with TV and smartphones. You just say scrolling on TikTok or YouTube, and you kind of just get lost. Before you know it, it's like 3 a.m. and you gotta wake up at 6:30 to get ready for work. So to change and get into the habit of getting a good sleep and pretty much just getting sleep at all, you gotta prioritize it. You need to make it an important thing, and you need to understand its importance and then make it a priority. It's going to require not just motivation, right? It's good to watch, say, a video like this and want to go in, but then 2-3 days later, I don't know, there's a new show on Netflix and you know scrolling again. Not only motivation, but you will have to master some discipline as well, right? Doing the things that you don't want to do because they're important and it's necessary for you to perform at your best, and you want to be at your best, especially if you're raising children, right? You cannot be running on a half tank or like a quarter tank of gas, and just expect things to work themselves out. You need to refuel fully every day and be your best. So it helps to just start reviewing why it's important to you to get more sleep, right? If not, it's just easy to drift off and forget about it, So why do you want to be getting good sleep? If you don't have any good reason, you might want to just shut this video off and, I don't know, move on to the next. But if you really trying to make it work, why is it important to you, right? And as I mentioned, if you're raising kids, maybe you're irritable, like you snap at your kids or your wife, your spouse, your friends. At work, you're always foggy and groggy, and you just always yawning and tired, and you're just never feeling your best. Things like that. Review the things, see what's going on, and then start taking small actions to kind of get some form of momentum towards getting better sleep. right? Maybe, again, as I said, you're trying to just get healthier. You might be dealing with all kinds of issues that are related to sleep deprivation and you don't even know it. As I say, being irritable, anxious, tired all the time. And then if you're having, say, difficulty losing weight, for sure you have to prioritize sleep, because it's just way easier to gain weight if you're sleep deprived. You know, your energy is so low, and you crave foods that are higher in calories, you know, sugar more especially, all in an effort to make up, just to kind of get a quick burst of energy, right? Because you're tired. And then not only are you wanting to eat these high calorie, zero nutrition foods, you don't want to be active. You don't want to move as much as you would if you're well rested, because you're tired, right? So you're tired now, you just pretty much, you stuck in your couch and you have insatiable cravings for sugar. You know, that's a recipe for overweight right there. You also fight infections easier, you know, things like colds and flus. You get over stuff like that way faster if you get good sleep. And if you want to keep pushing it, you know, like sleep deprivation kills. You can die if you go long enough. So it's up to you how long you want to take that. All right. So how common are sleep problems? So a common myth is that we can get by with as little sleep as possible. You know, my wife is, or at least she was, very big on that, you know, trying to hack and figure out a way to exist on, I don't know, 3-4 hours of sleep force. You know what I mean? It's a requirement. You need to sleep, and 7 hours is a requirement if you want to operate optimally. 7 is actually at the low end if you're trying to be like mentally sharp. You want to get 8 hours of good sleep. How you get it really doesn't matter. You know, you can chop it up. If you, I don't know, if you say you got 6 hours of sleep or whatever, you got 5. Well, then you owe 3 hours. Find time to take a nap or something like that. You know, if you want to be mentally sharp, shoot for 8, right? 7 is more at the lower end of it. But anything lower than that, you will be okay, you know, but you are just not going to be operating at your best. The National Institute of Health estimates that a third of the population, the US population, is sleep deprived, right? And I mean, it makes sense. Any type of Western modern society is pretty much running on stimulants. It's just what it is. So we're working, trying to get stuff done, and we're doing everything but stopping to kind of recharge. And it's taking a toll, right? You think you're being smart and hacking this and that, working longer, but in all honesty, you're underperforming is what you're doing. Because as long as you're kind of zapping your adrenals with, say, I don't know, caffeine, Adderall, you know, stuff like that, you're not at your best. You know, you're kind of burning the candle on both ends. You will burn out. That's just how it goes. And it's not fun. Not only is it not fun, you deluding yourself thinking you doing this great job, but it's subpar in comparison to how you perform if you get good sleep. And you know, it's tough, right? Because it's kind of like a badge of honor, trying to squeeze out as much productivity out of the day, you know, working longer or working more and going home and taking work home instead of kind of decompressing and refueling with sleep. We just want to keep going and going and going until the body just kind of shuts down, because that's what happens, right? You accumulate adenosine, right? And adenosine, it's a naturally occurring chemical that tracks lost sleep, right? And you can only metabolize that, you can only get rid of it if you sleep. So what happens is you go long enough, you shut down. Your body just, you know, you dozing all the time. You can't really do anything, and you're forced to go to sleep. But you know, that's a very unwise way to go about it. You don't want to push it to the point where your body is forcing you to go to sleep. Know when to call it and be disciplined enough to be like, you know, I want to keep the momentum going, right? I want to pick up where I left out, whether it's work or just being present with your family, and just enjoying life fully, you know, because you're at risk of so much stuff if you keep going without sleep. All right, so how are you sleeping? The old school way was to, you know, keep a journal like right at the side of your bed, writing down when you know, lay down to go to sleep. And say if you wake up in the middle of the night to go pee, or I don't know, drink water or whatever, or you just wake up and you can't go back to sleep, you write that down. When you wake up, you write down, you know, you write it down in your journal. And that's kind of the old school way of doing it. You know, trying to estimate how long you were sleeping and how long you were awake. But that's a little much. And the data there is not as accurate. You know, there's wearables now. You know, this is 2024, right? Or whenever you're watching this is for sure after 2024. There's all kinds of wearables. You know, I wear one. It's called the Aura. You know, it's just a ring that you put on your finger, and you know, you don't even have to worry about writing nothing down. You know, yeah, it's called an Aura ring, and yeah, this is it. Or that's the product right there, and it, you know, it does all that stuff for you. Is there an image? Anyway, this is the ring. Let me wait. Sharp Aura ring. Boom. That's very slick, very good. This is it. That's the Aura ring. All right, so yeah, that's what I use. And you know, I've used different. I like this one because it's pretty sleek. I used to wear a Whoop strap before, and I just don't like wearing a wrist band, you know, and it was like cloth. It wasn't just very, I didn't really like it. This one, you stick it on your finger and you forget about it, right? There's a whole bunch on the market. Pick one up. You put it on and you don't have to write anything. It's just picking up all the data, and you know, it's way more objective. You see exactly what's happening. And usually when you start keeping an eye on it, you start seeing how you're messing up, right? Like the saying at Google or one of them tech companies, you cannot improve what you cannot measure, right? So if you don't even, I mean, if you just think you go to bed at 8 and wake up and you got your sleep, but then you're still feeling tired, you don't really know what's going on. So it's kind of nice to see what's going on under the hood, just so you know for sure, and you see how you can make a change. And wearables are the way to go. I really recommend the Aura. It's not a sponsor or anything like that, but it's a very good product. All right, understanding sleep. So sleep was always looked at as this like one block of rest time, right? Like it's this chunk of time where you're just resting, but there's really more to it than that. You know, sleep research has uncovered so much, and there's so much that has been found out about what's actually going on when you're sleeping, or at least when you're in bed at night. It's now known that there's distinct stages of sleep throughout the night, and it kind of cycles. I think it's like 90-minute cycles of different stages of sleep that you cycle through during whatever amount of time you allot to sleep that day. And how well you sleep depends on how much time you spend in a certain stage of sleep. So sleep is divided into REM and non-REM sleep. And REM meaning rapid eye movement, right? When you sleep, the eyes, you know, are usually moving under there, and more especially when you're in a dream state, your eyes are moving, and that's called, you know, rapid eye movement, or REM. An even easier way to look at sleep, and this is how Aura, like the sleep app, this is how they split the different stages of sleep, right? There's the light sleep, REM sleep, and then there's the deep sleep. So stage one, right, light sleep, is when you can easily wake up if you hear, you know, if there's like loud music or there's some noise in the house, somebody drops something or somebody's playing music or your phone rings, you can easily wake up when you're in light sleep. You're literally not asleep, but you're getting there. You know, that's light sleep. And then stage two is rapid eye movement, or REM sleep, where you're kind of in a dream state, right? And that's why your eyes are kind of moving real quick. And then stage three is deep sleep. This is, you know, where your body restores, you know, all the cellular junk is just taken care of, all kinds of good stuff are going on, you know. And this is the type of sleep where you want to spend a lot of time in. And there's ways you can train yourself to get a lot more deep sleep. And there's different things you can do, which I get into, that will enable you to spend more time in deep sleep, because that is, that is a, you want to be in all stages, right? Because I mean, there's a reason why sleep cycles in three, they all play their role. But when it comes to kind of filling the fuel tank for the next day, you want to get deep sleep. All right, troubleshooting sleep problems. We're quick to be like, hey, I got insomnia, I don't sleep, I got, this. Before you jump to any conclusions, there's some questions you can ask yourself. And if you answer them, you figure out, whether you truly are having real sleep problems like insomnia, or it's, if it's just more of like you got into this rut of bad habits and you've let them accumulate and now they're affecting your sleep, right? So, and the first is, do you go to bed at a reasonable time, right? What time are you going to sleep? How many hours are you looking to get as sleep? And then what time are you going to sleep? Because if you go to bed at 1 and you need to wake up at 4 or 5, yeah, you're gonna get shit sleep. You're not gonna get anything there. You know what I mean? It's just not enough time for your body to do what it's got to do to get its to be restored and be ready to attack the next day. It's just not enough time. So simple questions like that. What time are you calling it a day? You gotta get in the habit of keeping consistent sleep and wake times. So hell, say you want to get 7 hours of sleep, right? You want to make sure you get in bed at least 2 hours before that 7 hour countdown starts, right? Because I mean, you're not jumping in bed and going to sleep right away. You know what I mean? And then maybe you're a light sleeper and you're spending a lot of your time in light sleep, and you wake up to go pee, to go, I don't know, drink water or whatever people do when they wake up in the middle of the night. So you gotta account for that. If you're trying to get 6 hours of sleep, you're not going to bed and start counting down 6 hours from then. Just stuff like that. Do you have like a calming ritual, like an evening ritual? What do you do to decompress and get ready for bed? It's the body likes rituals. The body likes to know. It doesn't like surprises, right? Because it kind of panics when you just throw like a random curveball. So you want to signal the body that you're getting ready to go to sleep, and that just, it enhances your sleep more than you know. And then lights, right? Are you turning your lights out, or are you one of them people that are going to sleep with your light on? And then also, what kind of light do you have? Because light, it's very disrupting of sleep. Whenever there's light, especially the blue light, it signals your body, not just in your eyes, even on your skin. It signals your body that you should be up, like it's daylight. Get up and get moving. So your body is kind of confused, and instead of being asleep, it's trying to wake up because you don't want to turn your light off, right? So there's certain lights that you can have in your bedroom. Say if you're the type that wants to have a light on, certain red lights or incandescent lights that mimics like a fire, like a campfire or something like that. Those are good. Anything that has blue lights in them or like white, it's disrupting your sleep, and it's making you not go to sleep. And sound, right? Do you turn down sound? Are you making an effort to quiet things down, or do you want to go to sleep with headphones in your ear, right? Like earphones? There's certain sounds that are good, like if it's natural sounds where the body likes to listen to, say, like waterfalls or like rainfall or rustling leaves and wind. Those are good calming sounds. And not even for all people. Like, you just want it quiet if possible. But for you do not want to be blasting music and expecting to go to sleep. So turn down the sounds. Or you live in the city, right? And there's traffic and it's busy at night. Well, if it's noisy, try things like earplugs, okay? Or, I don't know, soundproof your room or something, anything to just reduce the noise in the place that you sleep. And then another one is screens, right? Are you watching TV or scrolling your phone while you're on your bed? That's another source of blue light, right? It disrupts you to think that you should be awake when you should be going to bed. So, I mean, there's settings like on the iPhone where you can put it in night mode. It helps, but I just suggest to just don't even have your smartphone in your bedroom. It's like, what are you doing? Watching crazy ass videos at night when you should be calming down and getting ready to sleep. Try reading, right? Read a book at night, instead of wanting to and read a physical book instead of say reading a book on your iPad or looking at your iPhone, right? I don't know. I used to pretty much watch TV until I fall asleep. And it's kind of like a thing with people. Like it's a thing, it becomes a habit, where you want to watch TV until you go to bed. Not good. Matter of fact, why even having say TV in your bedroom? Things like that. Just if you're trying to improve your sleep and you know the importance of improving your sleep, you might want to get rid of it and don't have your smartphone in your bedroom. Stay away from screens at night. That is going to improve your sleep for sure. And then, what are you doing? Are you doing stressful work before you go to sleep? Right? Are you looking at your credit card debt? Stuff like that at night. Are you watching horror movies? Are you worried about, this thing that you need to be doing or this thing that you've been procrastinating on doing? Are you stressing yourself out before going to sleep? And I get it, because when you start quieting your mind, all these things start popping up and it's easy to kind of worry and be anxious. But, just get into a habit of, I don't know, prayer, meditation to just help you relax. Take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out. You just relax and you kind of decompress and, all your worries kind of melt away, I hope. And then, are you taking long naps during the day? Sometimes, naps are good, more especially if you're running low on sleep. You're accumulating that adenosine or, sleep debt. It's good to take naps, but sometimes if you take way too long of naps during the day, it affects your sleep at night. You end up staying awake at night. So maybe you want to cut it down, instead of taking long 2 hour naps during the day, you take 10, 20 minutes or naps, that way you make sure at night you still get a full night's sleep. Another big one is alcohol, right? Are you drinking alcohol to go to sleep? It's a very common misconception that drinking alcohol helps you go to sleep. It's not the whole truth, right? You will get a buzz and you might want to go to sleep, but alcohol, it leaves the body pretty quick. I think the half-life is like 3 hours. And then as soon as the alcohol leaves the body, you're awake, right? And not only are you awake, but it makes you kind of anxious and nervous, and it's just so much harder to go back to sleep. So you don't want to drink alcohol, to help you to go to sleep. Stay away from alcohol hours, most depending on how many drinks you've been taking before sleep. Alcohol is alcohol is sneaky. It's part of culture and it's cool to drink. You came home, you had a long day, your boss was busting your balls, you stressed out, you want to drink a few beers or whatever to relax and watch TV. Double whammy right there. You're getting drunk and you're shooting your eyes with blue light. So it's just going to be that much harder to get good rest. And then you wonder when you wake up, you're still feeling like shit pretty much. But, alcohol, you want to stay away from it. It gives the illusion of helping you to sleep because you might feel drowsy. But as soon as it gets out of your body, you're waking up. You know what I mean? And it disrupts sleep more than it helps. If to put it another way. And then another one is coffee, right? How much coffee are you drinking? And then how close to bedtime are you drinking coffee? Caffeine keeps you awake. We know that it zaps you awake and it's good. I like coffee. I like drinking coffee in the morning. And I'm a pretty good caffeine metabolizer, but I still stay away from it. I try to do all my coffee drinking between 7 and 10, right? Like if I wake up and then I don't drink coffee between 7 and 10, then I'm good for that day. I'm not even going to bother because I know it's going to affect my sleep. Later in the day, I'm not even thinking about it. I've tried it, but I couldn't sleep. Like I'm like a zombie, eyes wide open in the middle of the night. And I know why. It's because I drank that coffee. So you might want to stay away from caffeine or caffeinated drinks before going to sleep, and maybe even hours before going to sleep, depending on how you metabolize caffeine. You might want to experiment and figure that out. And then do you exercise, right? Are you exercising, and how much exercise are you getting? Like if you get good exercise, if you put in a good, heavy lifting day, right? Or you were doing sprints or something like that, you're going to sleep. Like if you push your body hard, that right there is like sleep enhancing, because I get people complaining, talking about, I'm not getting enough sleep, but it's like, yeah, you've been on the couch all day, right? You didn't really use your body for what it's supposed to be used for, and you're wondering why you're not going to sleep later on. It's like, yeah, you've been pretty much resting all day. Maybe you're not sleepy or you're not tired. It's not like you're an insomniac. You just, are not, I don't know, tired maybe is why. But if you go out, walk, be on your feet, exercise, your body will want to, restore itself and rest. But if you've been on the couch, watching TV, doing everything that's going to affect your sleep negatively, right? Because we usually pile these habits all together. Usually when you're on the couch, you're snacking and you might want to have a drink, and then you're watching TV. So all these things added, it's like, yeah, you're not going to sleep. But yeah, exercise is a big one. If you exercise, you're going to sleep. Just make sure not to exercise way too close to bedtime, right? It might affect sleep negatively. But if, say, you worked out in the morning or like, midday, your body will want to rest from all that stress that you put on it. And then lastly, did you eat a big meal, before sleep? And again, what kind of food are you eating too? So you might want to give yourself some room from the time you eat to the time you go to sleep, because you're just taking resources away. Instead of the body focusing on restoring and sleeping, it's doing other things. It's digesting this giant meal that you ate. And if you say ate junk food, it's that much more stress on your body. So you might want to just stay away from food 3-4 hours before sleep, big meals. And then just don't eat junk food, right? Eat good food, good healthy food. Every time I eat junk, it's kind of like the next day is kind of like coming back from a hangover, right? More especially sugar laden food, or like a combination of them. Like if it's got sugar and seed oils and stuff like that, it's like good luck digesting that. It's a whole lot more work, and it just messes you up way more than if you just eat regular whole foods. And it disrupts your sleep way more than, say, you ate a big meal but it was just like whole foods. But regardless, just kind of don't eat too much before sleep. Give yourself some breathing room. All right, sleeping pills and other sleep aids. If you've done everything we've just talked about, you've been troubleshooting your sleep and you're keeping things dark, you're keeping things quiet, and you have like a nighttime ritual for decompression, and you're still struggling, you could try, some sleep aids. But drugs in general are a very murky territory, and I personally wouldn't want to rely on a drug to go to sleep. Habits are your number one go-to, and they're the most reliable and the cleanest form of going to sleep. And sometimes it just takes a little bit more effort, and maybe wait until you really really need to sleep, because drugs they're a problem. They should be more of like a one-time thing, right? Or like a hack, like if everything is going well, but then maybe I don't know, you want to pull an all-nighter here and there, but then you want to catch up on sleep. Every now and then you can get into that territory, but you don't want to rely on it to the point where if you don't have it, you're not going to sleep. That's just very dangerous. Over-the-counter drugs, like antihistamines, it's Benadryl. Some people take that, and just because it has the side effect of making you sleepy, which is like, I don't know if that's a very smart thing to do. If you're struggling and you don't want to take some crazy sleeping pill, you might want to do that, but I wouldn't suggest that. And then pain relievers too, so if, say, you're dealing with pain And that's the reason why you cannot go to sleep. I know of people that take pain meds to kind of take care of their pain so they can go to sleep. But again, pain meds are never really going to the root of the problem. They're masking the problem. So it just means you need to figure out how to deal with your pain problem at the source, instead of relying on a painkiller. And we know what happens with, pain pills. You just kind of build up a tolerance, and now you need more and more and more and more. And before you know it, you're hooked and they're not even helping you. And now you're just physically addicted to this thing. So I wouldn't suggest that. I mean, once in a while, yeah, you can take like Tylenol or whatever pain pills that are least addictive, more especially if you have some form of like an addictive personality. You might want to, stay away from that. But yeah, once in a while, you're hurt, you in pain, maybe getting off surgery or whatever, and you cannot go to sleep. You want to get sleep, you know what I mean? You want to get sleep, so you might want to do that. But again, think of it as a once in a while thing. You cannot now just take pain pills every night because you want to deal with the pain so you can go to sleep. The safer ones are more of like melatonin supplements, right? Because melatonin is naturally occurring in the body, right? It signals the body to get some sleep or to go to bed when it gets dark. It's kind of like in response to darkness. And then there's some supplements out, there's some melatonin supplements out that you can take. But in my experience, when you build tolerance, like if you're not gonna take it every day and get the same effect, if you use it once in a while, and for me it was like, once a week, right? Maybe I stayed up too late the previous day and I gotta go to bed today, I'll take, some type of melatonin. Yeah, I'll take like a melatonin a pill or whatever. But again, supplements, you're entering into this very murky territory because the supplement industry in the US at least is not regulated by the FDA, so you might be taking things that are not actually melatonin, or there might be some crazy thing in there that you shouldn't be taking. So you might want to look into your sourcing, like where are you getting these drugs from? Do you trust the supplier? Stuff like that. But it does help. But again, it's not like an everyday thing now, because you think you're insomniac and now you're hooked on melatonin for the rest of your life. Take it once in a while when you really, really need to go to sleep and having trouble going to sleep. Then there's also prescription sleeping pills, right? Which is some very scary stuff. Every time somebody tells me they're on sleeping pills, I'm just like, I'm going to pray for you, because that's tough. If you now require pill to go to sleep, man, and the side effects of these things are pretty dark. But it's an option, right? It's there, and I'm not going to cover it because of how I feel about it. But then again, I do not recommend it. Like if you can work on more natural methods, it's always the best. So there's short-term and intermediate-term benzodiazepine agonist, right? Or benzodiazepine receptor agonist, or melatonin agonist drugs. So, agonist being just aiding with the process, like helping you do this thing that you should be doing naturally, but you're having trouble with it. And there's a whole bunch of them. The famous one is Ambien, which I think is an intermediate benzodiazepine receptor agonist. And then there's been some crazy stories of Ambien, of like, you wake up in the middle of the night and cook a whole meal and set the table and clean the house, and then you go back to sleep. Stuff like that, it's crazy. And I don't even know when I would take a sleeping pill. I think if I haven't slept to the point where I'm going to die and I have to go to sleep, that's the only time I would want to take a pill like that, because it's just not worth it. The side effects are crazy, suicide, depression, anxiety. You don't want to rely on drugs like that. And they're designated short-term or intermediate depending on how long they last, right? So some of them, half-life, right? How quickly are they going to get out of your body? And so with some short-term benzodiazepine receptor agonists, they get out of your system earlier, right? So you get to zap out of sleep, or like you wake up before your intended waking time. And some people don't like that. Is why Ambien sold so well, because it kept people sleeping longer, but then the side effects were just crazy, right? I don't even know if it's still on the market, but it's probably still on the market because it does the job. Hell, let me look it up. Yeah, it's still on the market. You know, you can still get Ambien from your doctor. But again, you're taking a very, very big risk. I know of people that take Xanax as a sleep aid, right? To induce sleep. And I mean, it makes sense. Like, you want to relax and chill out before you can go to sleep. But again, you're risking beating up a tolerance and getting addicted to the thing. And then, anytime you getting that type of instant gratification, there's the risk of getting addicted to the thing, and you can just get the same effect from, as I say, breathe in, breathe out, meditating, praying, and just kind of chilling out before going to sleep, instead of depending on the drug, because you're gonna get the same effect. It's just that one takes a little bit more effort and a little bit more practice before getting very good at it. Other than the other one is, you get the effect right there and then. And I see the allure, or why people want to do the easier thing. But just remember, there's risks to it. It's not a free ride. So, just be careful with drugs. Drugs are very overrated, right? They overpromise and underdeliver, most of them. They're overhyped, they're overprescribed, oversold, and it shouldn't be that way, really. They're advertised as safe, but most of the time they're unsafe, and they come with a whole bunch of side effects. And that immediate hit, that immediate fix, that is what causes addiction. If you feel like you're getting to the result that fast, you're gonna risk being hooked on the thing every time you use it. That's a risk you're taking, and you just don't want to rely on a pill for anything. You just want to be able to do it whether or not you have a pill. Changing habits is more of a cleaner and longer term solution, because you always have that, right? You have the power, and instead of giving up all your power to like a pill, so habits are powerful. They are very powerful. It's hard to get the momentum and get moving, but once the ball is rolling, you're unstoppable. You've had times when you slept great. You woke up feeling like, a new person, pretty much. Everybody has those moments. Everybody has had a day where, man, you feel like, what happened yesterday? I feel great. Find out what happened. Take it seriously and look at what did you do differently to get that effect. And then build on that, right? And then, as I said, wearables will be your companion in figuring that out, because again, you got to look at what's going on before you can make a change. Because you don't even know what to fix if you're not looking at it. So wearables will be your companion. And then you'll see the data. You'll see what did you do. Maybe you burned a few more calories. You moved more, right? Maybe you exercised. There was a certain type of exercise you did, or you took it a little bit easier, right? You took a nap, maybe, stuff like that. Maybe you should start taking more naps. And you can only be able to see that when there's some form of data. But if you're just kind of shooting in the dark, you don't really know what the hell is going on. It's going to be guesswork, and the results will be pretty much the same. They'll be, very unreliable. So, look back, when did you have that good sleep? See what you did different, and just kind of build on that. All right, some action items. I'm big on knowing stuff, right? Educating yourself about certain topics. If you've never looked into sleep, look into it, And a good book is Sachin Pandar's Circadian Code. Right? Yeah. This book here, very, comprehensive. It goes in, it shows you everything that you need to know to not only get better sleep, but to lose weight, supercharge your energy, and transform your health from morning to midnight. That's what it says on the cover. If you don't even know what the hell is going on, you won't take it seriously. That one is a very good book. There's a whole bunch of books. This is a good one to start with if you don't know where to go. And then sleep hygiene, right? Again, you don't need to read heaps and heaps of books before you can make a change. Right now, you can go say change your lights in the bedroom, right? Put a red light in there, or like an incandescent light that doesn't really trick you into thinking you need to be waking up when you need to be relaxing and getting ready to sleep, right? Get the TV out of your room. Get the smartphone out of your room. Put some blacked out curtains, and keep it dark and cool in there, right? And if you have a spouse, let them know what's going on. Let them know that you're trying to improve your health for both of you, for the family, right? And this is not just for you or your wife, it's for the kids as well. Do all this for the kids too. Stop drinking late. Stop eating big meals before going to sleep. Start eating more healthy whole foods. Exercise more. And do all these things before you want to go for that instant gratifying solution of taking a pill, right? Before you ask your doctor for some prescription med, do these things, right? It's a thing. Sleep hygiene, right? And then rituals and routines, right? You need to, when it's getting time to sleep, you need to be calming down. So sometimes we have these worries, right? I talked about breathing. There's time for breathing. Another good solution is taking it out of your head and putting it on paper and seeing what's really going on. Because sometimes we're just going over this noisy stuff, but then when you put it down on paper, it's like, what the hell am I even worrying about here? So a journal, it's a good thing, just write down your feelings. It just kind of helps take them out of your head and kind of put them somewhere where you're like, I can worry about this later. You know what I mean? You don't need to be worrying about it when you have to be going to sleep. So some type of ritual, right? Where you either sleeping or meditating, or if you have a family, read to your kids, right? Or read a book before you go to sleep. Stuff that's going to decompress you instead of stimulate you, trying to zap you out of being calm. Do more of those. Anything that calms you down, do that. Maybe you have like a little Bluetooth speaker that plays nice natural sounds, like rains. I've tried that. It's not for me. It was helpful at some point, but it just became annoying. For me, I just like it to be dead silent. I put earplugs, and it's quiet, and it's cool, and it's dark. I'm going to sleep like a baby. And then lastly, join the Graceful Fatherhood group. It's uncensored. We exchange ideas in there. If there's a waiting list, just sign up to get a notification as soon as it's open. And with that being said, thank you very much for spending your time with me, and I'll see you on the next one.